makes the Jersey sound really appealing. Stephanie, your work is amazing. Even if you have to do it video. Great, there's a lot more trouble. We spent a lot of time talking about. What's that?
Jersey bash.
Sorry.
I was not bashing, I was just expressing a sense of priority. I need some like yinzers to come here and support me right now.
Chris.
So great work you're doing with funding journalism. I mean, and the great state of New Jersey, yes. I want to talk about a different kind of investment, which is the investment of talent, and that's what our next speaker, Charlie Sennett's going to talk about. His work is about putting young journalists into local local outlets, both in the United States and around the world, giving them the support and training to help them do the work that is about promoting democracy in the regions. Charlie's here to talk about the great work he's been doing for now over a decade, what we can learn from the work he's doing, and I think most importantly, to hear about your ground truth.
Okay, so beginning, people, you can scratch. Charlie Sennott, I'm the founder of the Ground Truth Project. We're a nonprofit journalism organization launched 10 years ago, and since then we've created 2 service programs, Report for America and Report for the World, and both are driven by this shared mission. A lot of you know what we do at Report for America. A lot of you here are our partners. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about the why as to what we do. And I thought a good place to start is defining what is ground truth. It's a technical term coined by NASA for a calibration process. A person on the ground makes a measurement, the human reading, at the same time as satellite technology. The goal is to make the reading accurate. That's my ground truth right there in Afghanistan in 2001 for the Boston Globe, but my coverage really began 8 years earlier in New York City as a police reporter with that really bad mullet that just flashed by. I make that slide because the global war on terror was always a local story for me. Global and local is in our DNA. When I got home and saw the crisis of journalism, you know these numbers. You know 70 million Americans live in a news desert or a community at risk of becoming one. We watched great newspapers like Youngstown, like The Vindicator, go down. And what happens when there's no one there to tell the story of local heroes or to hold local villains accountable? Civic engagement withers, municipal bond ratings drop, and it turns out banks don't want to invest in communities where no one's watching the story. So the crisis in journalism is becoming a crisis for our democracy. And the first sign is a precipitous decline in voter turnout. No one knows the issues of the candidates, and indifference sets in. And into that void, dark forces are pouring a toxic mix of disinformation and misinformation. That results in violence, and it pulls us apart even further. One solution, our solution, is a call to service, a Teach for America or Peace Corps for journalism. And thanks to our amazing team at Report for America, it has become a movement. We've placed a total of 600 reporters in 300 newsrooms across the country. These reporters reflect the communities they cover. Nearly 50% identify as reporters of color. 2/3 are women. They're urban and rural. The idea for Report for America was drafted by co-founder Steve Waldman, and its simplicity has been its power. We put out a call for applications, and since day one, we've been flooded with interest. This select group takes on important beats like education, health, local government, and climate change. Our host newsrooms are also carefully selected based on a commitment to public service, a track record for mentoring, and sustainable business models. Then we pair the newsrooms with the reporters who are on staff for up to 3 years. Our funding formula is simple. We start off paying half the salary, and we help the newsrooms raise the other half. To date, we've helped local newsrooms secure over $21 million in local funding to match our national donors, which is more than the $21 million. So this is becoming an engine for us to try to work to restore local journalism. The need is vast, and not only here in America, but in every corner of the world. Every week there are crackdowns on a free press from Myanmar to Nigeria. And this month there was this news out of Canada about 600 more layoffs. So we're trying to replicate the success of Report for America with a global approach called Report for the World. We're in India and Brazil, where the decline in news has increased polarization and run alongside a rise in authoritarianism. Just like in America, these global news deserts offer fertile ground for toxic disinformation. In Ukraine, a collapse of local independent news in the Donbass is what allowed Putin to plant seeds of division and pave the way for an unprovoked invasion. Today, Report for the World is supporting 32 newsrooms across 20 countries. These reporters are all local journalists working for independent and mostly digital, actually all digital newsrooms. So all of these reporters, nationally and globally, are part of ground truthing, a calibration of human readings that so often goes ignored by big national and global media outlets. NASA says that when the reading on the ground conflicts with the technology, trust the human readings. That's what Report for America and Report for the World are all about, human readings. The crisis in local news is an enormous problem. This room is filled with heroes who are all working every day on solving it. I think our challenge is to keep looking for ways to work together, because then we have a shot at getting the job done. Along the way, we might heal some of the wounds in a very divided time, and we might even save democracy. Thank you.